We all agreed, "You're not welcome at the dad's birthday party," my mom said. It was a quiet Sunday morning when I got the call that changed everything. I had just made coffee, the steam curling in front of me like the lazy fog outside my apartment window. "We all agreed, you're not welcome at Dad's birthday party," my mom said, her voice clipped, emotionless. For a second, I thought I misheard her. "What?" I asked, the mug frozen in my hand. "It's better this way," she continued. "It'll be less awkward for everyone. We don't want drama." I hung up before she could say more. Not in anger, I just didn't have anything left to say. After 2 years of estrangement from my family, this felt like the final blow. They had drawn a line in the sand, and I had been left on the wrong side. But this story isn't about being disinvited from a birthday party. It's about what happens after. Growing up, my father was my anchor. He was quiet, the kind of man who said little but whose presence said everything. He showed love through action, late-night drives when I couldn't sleep, staying up to help with a science fair project the night before it was due, packing extra granola bars in my backpack, just in case. He wasn't perfect. He had his faults, distance, stubbornness, and later, a silence that wasn't just quiet but cold. But I loved him, and I know, in his way, he loved me. Things started to fall apart after I came out. It wasn't sudden. There wasn't a dramatic fight or a slammed door. It was worse, a slow, suffocating withdrawal. My mother was first, then my sister, then my father, who didn't say much, just said less and less, until there was nothing. So no, the call shouldn't have surprised me. But it did. Because despite everything, part of me hoped, prayed, that Dad's birthday might be the bridge we could meet on. I'd pictured walking into that backyard, under the string lights he always hung, handing him that old fishing rod I found on eBay, the same one he lost years ago on our last camping trip together. But hope is a stubborn thing. It holds on even when every sign says to let go. For a week, I didn't leave my apartment. The gift stayed wrapped on the table. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just existed in a numb kind of silence. Then, the day of the party came, and with it, something I didn't expect, resolve. I wasn't going to crash the party. That wasn't my style. But I had to do something. So I got in my car and drove 3 hours north to the small lakeside town where Dad and I used to go fishing every summer. The air smelled like pine and nostalgia. I found the old dock where we'd caught our first bass. I set the rod beside me and sat down, legs dangling over the water, letting the silence speak. An hour passed. Then another. I closed my eyes and tried to remember his laugh. "Didn't expect to find anyone out here today." The voice startled me. I turned to see a man, maybe in his 60s, carrying a tackle box and a folding chair. His face was weathered, kind, eyes twinkling with something familiar. "Just visiting an old memory," I said, gesturing to the rod. He nodded, settling in beside me. "Used to come here with my boy," he said softly. "Hasn't been back in years." I didn't respond at first. Then I said, "I used to come here with my dad, too." He didn't press. We just sat, casting lines into the glassy water, reeling in nothing but silence and understanding. Eventually, I told him everything. Not because he asked, but because sometimes a stranger is the safest place for truth. He listened, didn't interrupt. Just nodded, as if each word was a weight he was willing to help carry. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You know, people get scared. Scared of what they don't understand. Scared of being wrong. But love. Love's supposed to be braver than that." I looked at him, eyes stinging. "I don't think they hate me. I think they just don't know how to love me anymore." He put a hand on my shoulder. "Then teach them. Keep showing up, maybe not at their door, but in the world. In kindness. In grace." In every place you are fully, unapologetically yourself. That's how change happens. We parted ways an hour later. I never got his name. But he gave me more than he knew. On the way home, I stopped at a community shelter. It was something I'd always meant to do, volunteering, but never quite made time for. That night, I served dinner to 20 strangers, each with a story stitched in hardship and resilience. One woman, trembling as she took her tray, said, "I didn't think anyone cared anymore." "I do," I said. And I meant it. I started going back weekly. Then I organized a coat drive. Then a job skills workshop. Little acts that turned into something bigger. Not because I was trying to prove anything, but because I had so much love in me, and no one to give it to. So I gave it away. Months passed. Seasons changed. Then, one day, I got a letter. Handwritten. No return address. "Dear son. I saw your name in the paper. They wrote about the shelter, the work you're doing. I don't know how to say this, but I'm proud. I've been silent too long. Not because I don't love you. But because I didn't know how to hold all the things I didn't understand. That's not your fault. That's mine. I miss you. I want to fix this, if you'll let me. I still have the old tackle box. Maybe we could go fishing. Dad." I read it 3 times before the tears came. Forgiveness isn't a door you knock on once. It's a path. Winding, uncertain, sometimes uphill. But step by step, we walked it together. First a phone call. Then coffee. Then Thanksgiving, where my mom didn't say much, but made sure to bake my favorite pie. This year, on Dad's birthday, I was the one who hung the string lights in the backyard. He opened the fishing rod and laughed, a full, open sound I hadn't heard in years. And when he hugged me, really hugged me, I knew the ice had finally cracked. Not everything was perfect. Some wounds took longer to heal. But they were healing. And that mattered. Here's what I've learned: the world will try to define you by the places you're not welcome. But your worth isn't measured by who shuts you out, it's measured by how you choose to show up anyway. With love. With hope. With the unshakable belief that you still belong. Because sometimes, the most powerful change doesn't happen in a grand gesture. It happens in a quiet dock, beside a stranger. In a letter written too late but just in time. In a heart that breaks, then decides to heal anyway. And maybe, just maybe, in a birthday party where love finally remembered how to speak.